And with all the advances in the energy market, solar power is really heating up. If you're looking for a way to get in on the solar game, investing is a lot easier than you might have thought. Mosaic is the first crowdsourced investing platform for solar energy. It's changing the green energy game in a very big way, and it has some big names to show for it. Mosaic CEO Billy Parish and actor Mark Ruffalo join us now to discuss this. Let me bring Billy in first before we go to Mark. How can an average person, through crowdsourcing through Mosaic, make money by investing in solar? Because I think some people have been scared by going into solar energy.
Yeah. So people go to joinmosaic.com and they browse different projects they want to invest in. And those projects sell the electricity that they produce, and investors are paid back with interest.
So essentially, you're lending through the crowdsourcing. You're generating the funds that you then lend to the project. It gets built, and then they pay it back over a period of time to the investor.
That's exactly it. So we have thousands of people across the country earning 4.5% to 7% yields, making loans to finance solar projects.
That's actually a lot better than you're doing if you're keeping your money parked to the side. Let's bring in the actor Mark Ruffalo. Why did you decide to get involved with something like this?
Well, it appealed to my senses of democracy and democratization of energy. Mm-hmm. And you know, I've been a big proponent of renewable energy for a while. I started in the hydrofracking fight in upstate New York. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I couldn't have a credible argument unless you could come up with an alternative that was viable. And so I started looking around, and I saw that, you know, we could really make this leap without having to use natural gas by moving to something like solar energy.
Well, in fact, in parts of the area around here, for instance, we were talking in our morning meeting, there's actually a Whole Foods in Gowanus in Brooklyn, yes, which has solar panels, and that generates actually 25% of their electricity.
Yes.
Throughout the year. There was a story that Fox did in which they talked about the fact that during the summer, those solar panels allow them to keep their refrigeration units for their food as well as their air conditioning system running efficiently without having to draw more energy from the grid.
What you're seeing is a lot of the big retailers are moving to solar energy because it gives them a stable idea of what their energy prices are going to be 10, 15 years down the line. Right now, the fossil fuel market is so chaotic and so unstable and is actually going up every year that it's hard for a business to really project where they need to be 2 or 3 years down the line.
Plus, during the summer heat waves, it's the businesses which are always called first to cut off. So if you have a way to minimize your grid draw, then this would be good. Let me go back to Billy. With the United States, whether you agree with it or not, and we're not going to have that debate tonight, but you know, we are producing more carbon fuels in the United States. Doesn't that undermine the thrust to go solar? Because the cost of solar had come down, but if the cost of carbon fuels comes down, won't that essentially make it more difficult for your investors to make a profit?
So 100% of the electricity that was put online in the U.S. in November was clean energy. 99% of the electricity put online in the U.S. in October was clean energy. Again, most of it's solar.
I think so I need you to clarify, because what I misunderstand. Are you saying that every kilowatt generated in November was clean energy? Most of our energy is produced by burning coal, I thought.
No, so all of the new electricity that was put online. So what I'm saying is we're seeing a transition to clean energy that's happening much faster than anyone has predicted. And a lot of that is based on what you said, Adam, that 80% price decreases in solar panels over the last 5 years. So the technology is really viable, and what Mosaic is doing is letting people get in on this new asset class.
What is the future of solar, Billy? I know that this plant in Arizona, the Solana plant, is it? And I'm probably not pronouncing it correctly, but that's an old-fashioned solar plant in which they beam the sun's rays onto a tank with, I don't understand the technology, but essentially they transfer the heat and they generate electricity. That's not the direction we're moving. It's going to be photovoltaic cells, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be distributed generation. It's going to be on almost every rooftop. It's going to be integrated into roofing tiles. It's going to be so easy and so cheap that it'll be stupid not to go solar.
I'm going to wrap up here with Mark. When I was a kid growing up in South Florida, our hot water was, and a lot of homes in South Florida have this, was heated with solar. Why don't we do that, say, in places like New York? There are a ton of rooftops around here, although we don't have sunlight throughout the year. You could certainly generate some electricity, could you not?
Well, New York is basically on the same longitude and latitude as Germany, and right now, or last summer, I think they produced 40% of their energy from solar.
But they also, the German government made a decision in which they actually paid people to install solar panels. I mean, the population of Germany made a decision that cost them because they had to divert those funds to do that.
Yes, but in the long run, you're not paying for fuel. So let's say when Solar Mosaic puts a system on a roof, that system gets paid for in, let's say, 10 years. After that, for the 25 years or 30 years that those panels survive and are producing at 80% still, even ones that were put up 25 years ago, you're not paying for fuel during that time. You are not tied to that market. And so what you're doing essentially is getting free energy. And so maybe the upfront costs are a little expensive, but in the long run, you're actually saving much more money.
I have to wrap up here, but we have a photographer here at Fox who actually put solar panels on his homes in California, and actually when there's excess electricity, he sells it back to the grid. His electric bills are next to nothing.
You know what this is about? This is about every American being able to produce their own energy, store their own energy, and sell their own energy as they wish.
Mark Ruffalo.
It's independence at its best.
I appreciate you joining us. Billy Parish from Mosaic, the CEO, thank you so much. I wish we had more time to talk about these kinds of issues because I think everybody's fascinated by them. But all the best to you and a Happy New Year.